I'm Kellie Murphy-Ringate, Fire Marshal and Public Educator for the Excelsior Fire District, and welcome to First Responder TV, your local safety source, featuring training exercises, safety tips, and much more. Here's what's coming up on First Responder TV. I'll talk with Dr. Janet Olson, founder and president of BART. Students from Mound Westonka High School take a pledge to be phone-free on making a difference. Scam Alert. We'll give you updates on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area. We'll learn how to administer Narcan to save someone from an opiate overdose on Safety Source. Joining me now is Dr. Janet Olson, founder and president of BART. Hey Janet, thanks for coming.
Hi, you're welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I am a veterinary cardiologist, and my husband is a firefighter for the New Brighton Fire Department, retired firefighter, actually. And a number of years ago, there was a house fire in New Brighton that involved a dog named BART, who was a 13-year-old German short-hair pointer. And that's how I got involved with dealing with animal emergency disaster and preparedness.
Okay, so what does the acronym BART stand for?
So BART stands for Basic Animal Rescue Training.
What does BART provide for first responders as far as services and education?
It turns out that a number of years ago, there was a house fire in New Brighton, and again, the house that was burning down belonged to another member of the fire department. So he started on a very cold winter February day, and he had a dog named BART, and who was a completely outdoor dog. And he decided this particular day that it wasn't safe to keep him outside because it was such a cold day. So he brought BART into the home and put him downstairs in the laundry room, and he and his family went out to do errands for the day. And then his pager went off, and to his surprise, the home address that was read across his pager was his own home. So the first thing that he did is he called ahead to the other firefighters and he said, I don't care about my house or my belongings, but you have to get BART out. And the firefighters on the department knew BART. They had hunted with him, spent time with him at the fire station, and knew what this dog meant to this family. And so the firefighters arrived on scene, including my husband. They were able to put out the fire, locate BART, but by the time they did so, he was unresponsive. They found him downstairs in the laundry room with his nose stuffed under an outside air vent, trying to get any little bit of oxygen that he could. But again, by the time they found him, he was unresponsive. And the firefighters, including my husband, didn't have the skills or training necessary to help BART, and BART died that day. So my husband came home and he told me this story, and as a veterinarian, my gut reaction was, well, why didn't you call me? But the reality is that veterinarians aren't on scene in these types of situations. It's the first responders, the firefighters, paramedics, law enforcement that are there during these critical moments that can really make a life-saving difference. And so I decided as a veterinarian that I wanted to develop a curriculum to help prepare first responders to deal with these types of situations. So Basic Animal Rescue Training was named in honor and memory of BART, that German Shorthair that died that day.
So tell us about those services and education that you now provide to first responders as a result of that incident.
Yeah, so we actually have two curriculum right now. We have a large animal curriculum and a small animal curriculum. We're proud to say that both of them are Department of Homeland Security state approved courses. They're both designed to be 3 hours in length, so they can fit into the normal drill night of a fire station, so it's very convenient and accessible to the fire service and other members of the public safety departments. Our small animal curriculum is the one that I personally wrote, and what it involves is this 3-hour course where we do an awareness level PowerPoint presentation to talk about why it's important to deal with animals in emergencies and disasters and how it impacts the first responders. And then we have 3 hands-on stations where the first responders, the firefighters, rotate through and they learn handling and restraint, patient assessment, first aid, and CPR. And the handling and restraint portion of the course to me is the most important thing that we teach, because we want first responders to be safe and effective and efficient when dealing with animals in emergencies and disasters. So we want them to have the tools to be able to use to get these animals out safely. And then we also have a patient assessment first aid where we teach the first responders the difference between human and animal triage, basically, what normal vital sign parameters are for dogs and cats versus what they are for people, so they can determine whether or not these animals are in need of assistance. And then also some bandaging techniques. And then the third rotation that they go through is CPR. So we teach them how to do CPR and how that compares in animals versus people.
So Janet, you talked about small and large animals. Can you define the difference between them?
Yeah, absolutely. So in veterinary medicine, when we use those terms, small animal medicine refers to companion animals. So dogs and cats, pocket pets, birds, ferrets, that category.
Okay.
Large animal medicine actually refers to agricultural animals and includes horses as well.
For example, what kind of curriculums do you have for rural departments that are more likely to run into emergencies involving horses and chickens and pigs like that?
It involves a PowerPoint awareness level lecture about, again, why it's important to deal with these animals in emergencies and disasters at the level of the first responder and the impact that they can have. But then it concentrates mostly on recapture and restraint. So let's say that there is a semi full of swine that tips over on one of our interstates, 35W, that we want those first responders to know how to safely and effectively approach these animals, handle them, and minimize the risk to themselves as well as to these animals, because these animals are a very important financial component of these producers.
Because they're their assets or their income, you know, they have a value to them also.
Right, absolutely. So it's a different, it's a little different perspective than our small animal course, which really is driven by the human-animal bond, and then the large animal is more driven by that financial aspect, but equally important, particularly here in Minnesota.
Talking about small animals, why don't we look at the kit that the Excelsior Fire District actually carries on our heavy rescue?
Yeah.
Can you point some of this stuff out to
Yeah,
us?
absolutely. So we talked about kind of the components of the course, and one of the things that we teach is handling and restraint, and we help provide this type of equipment to first responders, the tools that we use in veterinary medicine every day. So some of the things that we use are restraint poles and restraint snares, which are really, really helpful if, let's say, you have a cat that runs under a bed or is up on top of a refrigerator and you're trying to get them down and you're trying to get out of this dangerous situation quickly. We have these snares that can be used to kind of loop around them and pull them down to yourself so that you can then potentially put them in a restraint bag and safely transport them out of the dangerous situation. So we have snares and we have poles to be able to help facilitate the transport of animals in a very safe, effective manner. We also talked about how we teach patient assessment and first aid, and we have a patient assessment triage sheet in which the first responder then can just go through and walk through how to triage a patient. So it outlines how to do that. And then we have the equipment to be able to do that effectively. So let's say you're going to listen to heart and lung sounds on the patient. We have a stethoscope in the kit. We also have oxygen face masks. These are the masks that are used every day in veterinary medicine to be able to help support the oxygen needs of a patient if they're suffering from smoke inhalation, for example. And I can demonstrate on Toby. So this is Toby, and so if you were going to apply an oxygen mask to him, you can use these masks and you would put it right over the nose and the mouth so that you can get good oxygen support to them. You can hook them up to an oxygen line or actually also to an ambu bag if you want to use a little more manual ventilation for them.
So that said, how does BART get its funding?
So BART is funded, it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is funded through grants and donations.
Our viewers, if they wanted to donate, they could donate, because we have a lot of animal lovers in our audience that if they wanted to contribute to this, this is one of those charities they could contribute to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's important to understand and appreciate is that BART is the only organization of its kind. We are the only one in the nation that is providing this type of training to first responders to deal with animals that they encounter in emergencies and disasters, and really focusing on the public health and public safety aspect of all of that. And as a 501c3 organization, yes, we are dependent upon donations to be able to continue our mission. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that, again, first responders, this is not a part of their regular curriculum.
So where can people find out more information about BART?
Yeah, so we have a website. We also have a Facebook page.
And you encourage fire departments that have animal rescues, or saves as they call them, to connect with you and post on your Facebook page and tell the story of that rescue.
Yeah, so it's really important for the first responders to share their stories and their interactions with animals when they're on scene of emergencies and disasters, because then I think the other first responders and the community and the public can really understand and start to appreciate the impact that this training has in preserving the whole family.
I know for our firefighters, it is great to have the kit and the training, because I have a story too. When I first became a firefighter many years ago, we went to a fire and they handed me a dog that was rescued out of the house. And I remember feeling horrible that I had no idea what to do. I tried my version of CPR, I tried my version of mouth to mouth, and really feeling like I had really not made a difference because I didn't know what to do. So I embraced this when I first heard about it, and that's why we were one of the first departments to train. So this is so valued fire departments. So another way for people to support their fire department is to pay for that fire department to get that training, so your own fire department in your area is prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a list on our website page of the departments that we have trained, so community members can go on and look to see if their department has been trained.
Are there any tips that you would like to give first responders, and understanding a lot of people don't understand that first responders are ambulance, police, and fire?
Primary goal is to maintain your own safety. You want to make sure that you're safe when handling these animals. And if you don't feel safe in doing so, then you need to recruit additional resources to help out in that situation. And then it's also important to understand that the normal vital sign parameters for dogs and cats differs from that in people. So to understand what normal is, so that you can understand and appreciate when there's an issue and these animals need more care. And then what you were talking about CPR, when we do CPR in people, it's mouth-to-mouth CPR, or a variation of that at this point. But in dogs and cats, we use mouth-to-nose resuscitation. So we would lay them on their side and actually breathe directly into their nose rather than into their mouth. So those are some of the tips and things that we teach the first responders throughout our courses. Very, very valuable information today. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule. We really appreciate it. You're very welcome.
Mike, I'm heading out to run some errands. Better get up soon. Mike, don't you have to go to work? Mike. Honey? Are you listening to me?
Mike, get up! Mike, wake up! Michael, get up! Honey, get up! Mike, baby, wake up!
Welcome back to First Responder TV. We'd like to spotlight members of the community that go above and beyond in our segment, Making a Difference. This month, it's future problem solvers from Mound Westonka High School.
Well, it all started back in July when we wanted to do a project about lake safety. We found that lake safety wasn't an issue in Mound, and we started exploring more topics, and we found that phone addiction was a really big issue at the Mound Westonka High School.
80% of teens have phones. So many teens are walking around the high school, looking down at their phone, texting or whatever, and that can cause a problem. Next thing you know, they could hit into a pole or hit into other people. And there's also problems during class time. They're not paying attention to their teachers, they're falling behind.
Like today we were watching a movie about the Holocaust in English, and we had some people I saw go on their phones, even though the teacher said, like, put your phone in this box.
Community problem solving is a component of the Future Problem Solvers International Program, and it challenges students to identify real problems in their community and then try to find a solution.
Last year they did a teen homelessness project, and they decided this year they wanted to continue on with another topic, and they chose phone addiction. We're just trying to make people a little more mindful and a little more aware of when they are or are not on their cell phone as far as families are concerned, their friendships are concerned, and in a classroom.
If you take the pledge, you're promising not to have your phones in between 7th and 8th hour today, and also have no phones at lunch and student prep period tomorrow. We hope to accomplish people to recognize that they need to be more responsible and mindful about their technology use. And really our main goal is to minimize the disproportionate reliance on technology.
Technology is always at our fingertips, but what are ways that we can put it aside, have some self-discipline, some self-regulatory behavior to make sure that we're present in class, listening to instruction, engaging with peers in and out of the classroom, to cultivate those meaningful relationships.
Some habits I'm trying to break is trying to find replacements for when I'm bored on my phone. So if I'm bored, instead of going on my phone, I'd rather again read a book.
I think I spend way too much time on my phone. I got a tracking app on my phone called Moments, and it said I spent 6 hours on my phone one time. On average 4 hours, but that's still way too much.
Leaders in the building can talk a lot about the change that they want to see, but it's most powerful when it comes from other students. And they're also trying in this particular initiative of being present, not making a splash, a one-time event, but creating a sustainable model where we're talking on a monthly basis about digital citizenship and how we can be responsible users of technology.
We're just hoping people are more aware of their cell phone usage rather than just, getting off their phone. We're not telling you to get off your phone, just be more aware of your technology use.
Welcome back to First Responder TV. It's time for Scam Alert. This segment alerts the public on scams that have been reported to local police departments.
Your phone rings and the caller ID shows a number you don't know. You answer it anyway and hear, "Can you hear me now?" Even though it sounds like a real person, it's a pre-recorded robocall and it's illegal. The Federal Trade Commission has heard from hundreds of people who have gotten calls like this. If you get a call from someone you don't recognize asking, "Can you hear me?" don't respond, just hang up. Don't press 1 to speak to a live operator or any other number to be removed from the list. If you respond in any way, it will probably just lead to more robocalls and they're likely to be scams. Contact your phone provider and ask what services they provide to block unwanted calls. You can also put your phone number on the Do Not Call registry online or by calling 1-888-382-1222. To file a complaint with the FTC, report the experience online or call 1-877-382-4357. You receive an automated call from a company claiming to be collecting payment for a cash advance. The recording prompts you to stay on the line and speak to an agent. The agent will request you pay your debt immediately using a wire transfer or prepaid debit card. If you refuse, the debt collector will try to intimidate you by threatening you with arrest, lawsuits, or garnished wages. Despite the threats, these phony collection agents don't have any legal power. In most cases, the alleged cash advance doesn't exist. If you don't have any outstanding loans, hang up. Don't press any numbers or speak to an agent. Ask the debt collector to provide official validation notice of the debt. In the United States, debt collectors are required by law to provide the information in writing. If the self-proclaimed collector won't provide the information, hang up. Do not provide or confirm bank account, credit card, or other personal information over the phone until you have verified the call. To report a scam, use the BBB Scam Tracker online. You receive an email from Bank of America that looks official. It has their logo and a professional appearance. It informs you that Bank of America has upgraded its servers and, because of that, you are locked out of your account. It provides a link where you can update your information and restore your access online. If you have a relationship with Bank of America, it's easy to believe the email is legitimate. However, it is a scam. Phishing and spoofing emails that look like official Bank of America emails will try to trick you into visiting a fake website and providing your personal account information, or may also ask you to call a phone number and provide account information. The objective of these phishing scams is to steal your login information, which will then be sold to other scammers to make unauthorized purchases from your account. Bank of America says consumers should remember that it will never ask them to reply to an email with personal information or threaten to close an account unless information is provided.
The Lake Minnetonka Communications Commission, located in Spring Park, creates a variety of high-quality public, educational, and government programming for our member cities.
All in favor?
LMCC operates 4 channels. Channel 8 or HD 808 offers city council meetings in high definition. Staff-produced and community programming airs on channels 12 and 21. Channel 20 features school board and other government agency meetings. The studio is fully equipped in high definition, featuring state-of-the-art Panasonic cameras and fluorescent lighting. The studio is used to create a variety of LMCC programming. The LMCC production van is used to cover a variety of events in the community in high definition, including high school sports, concerts, and community forums. If you live in one of our member cities and are interested in producing your own show or using your talents for a production, please contact the Lake Minnetonka Communications Commission. LMCC, your community TV.
Opiate addiction continues to be an epidemic in Minnesota. With help from the Steve Rummler Hope Foundation, we learn how Narcan can save someone from an overdose.
The Steve Rummler Hope Foundation was founded in 2011 after Steve Rummler had died from a heroin overdose. The main mission of our foundation is to heighten the awareness of the dilemma of chronic pain and the disease of addiction. A note with the words below was found among his belongings. And that note says, "At first it was a lifeline, now it is a noose around my neck." We have 3 programs at the foundation. The first program is advocacy. So we are actively trying to reduce the stigma of addiction. Our second program is prescriber education. So we partner with the Minnesota Medical Association and the University of Minnesota Medical School to provide education to prescribers who often are not educated on addiction. Our third program would be overdose prevention, as you're going to see tonight, and part of that program is the overdose prevention training programs and naloxone training. So what is naloxone? Naloxone is a medication available in all hospitals and most ambulances. It acts in the brain to immediately reverse the effects of an opioid that a person has taken. We want to increase the accessibility of naloxone so every Minnesotan in our state has the tools that they need to save a life. In 2014, the Minnesota State Legislature passed Steve's law allowing firefighters and other first responders to administer naloxone to a person who is exhibiting the signs of an opioid overdose. One of the things that Steve's law does that's so impressive is it does provide that temporary limited immunity for people who do call 911 when they witness an opioid overdose. And the reason why we wrote that into the law is because we noticed that majority of people aren't using alone when they're overdosing, but they're being found alone, dead. We also passed the following year a $290,000 appropriation for first responders to use to be able to carry naloxone. One of the barriers is no one was doing the training. So of course, the Steve Rummler Hope Foundation stepped up to do the training for the community. So you find someone who's overdosed, what's the first thing you're going to do? Yep, try to wake them up really quick. If they're not responding to you shouting at them and shaking them, doing a pain response, what's the next thing you do right away? Call 911, that's right. We hold the trainings at our office once a month. Every third Thursday is what we normally do. But then again, we're out in the community almost every week. We're training organizations like hospitals, we're doing trainings for first responders, we're doing trainings for treatment facilities. Then we do the breaths, that's right. So you're gonna do 2 rescue breaths, 5 seconds apart, and then you're gonna quickly prepare your naloxone. So this is a muscle. Which 3 muscles or areas of the body can you inject into? Arm, thigh, and then upper buttocks, okay? So you do it directly into the muscle, you inject, and then you're good. Let's say 2 minutes go by, there's no response, then what do? Another dose. We're trying to work ourselves out of a job here, right? So we're trying to have everyone in the state carry naloxone, and hopefully people will stop using, hopefully this drug will get off of our streets, and we won't be needed anymore. But until then, we are out there every week doing trainings.
Thank you for watching First Responder TV, your local safety source. If you have an idea for a segment or an upcoming public safety or fire prevention event, please let us know. This is Kellie Murphy-Ringate giving you information you can use, share, and to live by. See you next time.